Right. Okay, here we go. Hey, everybody, and happy day number 5. This is the final day of the Get Your Business Organized workshop. Also, it is the final day of this workshop until next November 2024, which is crazy to think. First, just want to shout out the nearly 15 people that have already signed up to be a part of Expert Foundations. And again, you still have today, tomorrow, and Sunday to join us before the doors close until November of 2024. And just seeing that many people join us already is just a very, very exciting thing. And we cannot wait to help all those individuals really get the foundations of their business in place, get their businesses organized, and ready to scale. So again, for those that are jumping on live, please pop into the chat. Please do say hi and where you are coming in from around the country. We always love seeing the different places that people are watching this to and from. And also, you know, we're big on feedback. We love hearing what people have really taken away from the program. So, and the workshop so far. So, you know, if you want to type in, you know, either day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, which of the first 4 days do you feel was most impactful for you with what we taught? Because everyone obviously is at a different place, different space in their business. So what day really moved the needle for you? Because, you know, the fact is that I think everyone is starting to learn that it maybe takes a little bit more than they maybe thought to get their business organized. And there's a lot of things that need to get done. And Nancy and we were talking about this before we went live. You know, there's a big importance. There's a big importance of getting into something that's already been done and created, instead of you having to kind of figure it out and patchwork it yourself. And, you know, why we love teaching this workshop, but also why we really are just so excited and thankful that we were able to put together the Expert Foundation program, is the fact that now people don't have to try and figure it out on their own. They literally can step right into it and get all of the pieces of their business organized and in place. And as we talked about yesterday, if there's a crack in your foundation, the business is not going to get to where you want it to be. So for those that are still on the fence and are still deciding, or you're ready to join the nearly 15 people already that have jumped in for the last time that we are going to be opening the doors to Expert Authority until November of next year, we left the link in the chat right there. You know, what we're going to be going over today are the keys to consistency, which is just a few little tips that we have for you. We call them the 3 T's. And then we are going to do some Q&A. So we did send out the form. We sent it out this morning and this afternoon, and we actually posted it in the Facebook group. So there were a few people that actually pre-submitted some questions. So we will obviously answer those questions first, and then we can open up to the rest of the room if anyone does have any additional questions. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like super ready to just throw some gasoline on the fire of your business, 1, you're still not sure about what you want to do. Where would you guys say you are as far as really pushing the needle forward on a scale of 1 to 10 with the business that you're looking to grow? So, you know, 10 being I'm ready to throw some gasoline on it. 1, I am not at all. And this is important because I forget what the quote is, but our habits need to match our words, in the sense that if we say that we're a 10, and we want to be a 10, the actions behind those words have to match. So that's why you hear the saying, actions speak louder than words, right? And here's the beautiful thing. This is the last thing I'm going to say about foundations until a little bit later. I'm going to turn to Nancy in just 1 second. If someone could block out 20 minutes a day, you can complete foundations in no time. 20 minutes a day. And here's the thing. You guys know the saying as well, right? We all make time for what's most important to us. So if getting the foundations of your business in place so you can grow and scale, if getting your business organized, if getting all the pieces of the puzzle in place is important to you, you'll make the time for it. But I kind of alluded to this yesterday. Don't be surprised. And again, it's not in any way, not just from self-experience, but don't be surprised when we change nothing, that nothing changes in our business, right? If we don't decide to do something different with what's not working, we can't expect something to change in our business 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. So with that, I'm going to turn it to Nancy because we do have a few slides to go through first and foremost, and then we'll move to some Q&A after that to wrap up day number 5. So Nance, I'm going to pin you so people can see your beautiful face. And then I'm going to pin myself, and then you can share your screen.
I think I'm sharing already.
You are.
Excellent. Okay. If you guys can see my screen, 1 second. All right. If you guys could just give me a thumbs up or a Y or a yes in the chat box, that would be great. Excellent. So I know you're good. Scott, should I hide the video?
I did already.
Oh, you did. Okay. Hide video panel. So it doesn't record my screen. It records yours.
Yeah, I hit the video panel.
Oh, perfect. Okay, excellent. So today, right, because I will say, this is something that I struggled with when I first started getting organized. You know, obviously we've been sharing our story along this whole journey. But one thing that I struggled with was staying consistent. Okay. In fact, you know, I hear this all the time with entrepreneurs, business owners, just people in general, right? You know, even just anyone, you know, you get all excited about something, right? It's like in the new year and you sign up for that gym membership and you're like, yes, I'm going to go every single day and it's going to be amazing. And then what happens? You wake up the next day and then it's like, oh, I don't really feel like going to the gym. You know, I'm not really in the mood. And then the next day goes by and then the next day goes by and things kind of fall by the wayside. Well, I thought it was really, really important, especially during this workshop, because let's be honest, right? We gave a lot of information, right? We're leaving you guys with a lot of stuff to work on, especially as far as creating routines and schedules in your business. But I wanted to leave you with an extra little gift, right? A little tip that has really helped me and helped so many people. And that is different things that we can do to really help stay consistent with all these things that we put together. So I'm going to skip through a couple slides here. Or actually, no, never mind. I'm going to skip through one. So these are a couple hacks of, you know, that I've used that have really helped. And like I said, one of the biggest issues, you know, even with Trello, right, as a project management tool, is that people are just inconsistent with using it, right? They forget where it is. Signing in takes forever. They set everything up and then they just totally forget about it, right? You know, I think it's happened to many of us where we, you know, obviously do the same thing. So I'm going to introduce a little training that I actually used to teach as part of an organization training that I did. And it's the 3 T's of organization. Okay. And one is Trello, one is a timer, and one is a little something called Toby. Okay. So I'll break these down for you guys. So the first is obviously using Trello, right? Getting organized, making sure that you have all the things, right? You know, what needs to get done mapped out on your Trello board, right? I showed you the other day that, you know, Trello, you can map out all different things, right? It could be projects that you're working on. It could be routines that you have in place. It could be systems. It could be like a client onboarding process, right? The sky's the limit with all the different things that you can do using Trello. And I know in your workbooks, I gave you some ideas, you know, where you can actually jot down some different boards that you'd like to create. But the first question is, you know, have you mapped out your boards and what needs to get done? And if you haven't done that, right, that's always going to be step one. The second part is, have you blocked out time, each week to update your board. Let's say you have a weekly Trello board where you kind of add ongoing tasks or things that need to get done. Make sure you're setting aside to get that done. I love to use, I personally use Google Workspace. So I use my Google Calendar. I schedule out time either on a Sunday or an early Monday morning to actually go on and really check what's going on for the week, right? What are all the things that I need to get done? So if you want to set aside time or even like time block that in your calendar, you can schedule a reminder for yourself. You can even put the URL, right? The address to your Trello board in that little reminder on your calendar. And then that way you can click right into it. Okay. So just a couple little things there. Now, someone mentioned it earlier in the week, right? We talk about it. It's one of my favorite methods of, kind of staying on track. For productivity is the Pomodoro method. Okay. So if you guys can drop a Y or a yes in the chat box, if you have heard of the Pomodoro method. Okay. So this used to be a big method. They came out with it. They had these cool little kitchen timers that look like tomatoes. And it was a way of really doing short little sprints to really get things done. Right. I think a lot of us basically procrastinate. We don't get things done. And for example, in fact, I'm going to go back here just because I don't want you reading too much text here. So Scott is really good at executing, right? I tell him, hey, can you plan this or can you go, schedule that? He will go to his computer and he will get it done in 2 seconds. Okay. That's not me. For some reason, right? Our brains work completely different. And where Scott is really, really good at execution, getting things done, I tend to kind of put it on my to-do list and sometimes circle the runway a little bit. Okay. So the Pomodoro timer is a method that really reels you in. It says, you know what? You got 20 minutes, get it done. Okay. I use, in fact, my little timer here. I don't know if you guys can see my picture, but I have one that I ordered from Amazon. It's got intervals of time from 15 minutes all the way up to 60 minutes. And it's a little cube. I can just throw it down, on the desk and have whatever time pointing up. And it gives me that amount of time to work on something. And I do that because it just gives me a nice little framework and a time period to work in. Okay. And so the Pomodoro timer, the big method there is the 20-minute sprints. And it's just setting a timer, right? Getting yourself a clear little deadline to get things done. Now, if something takes longer than 20 minutes, I still recommend doing the 20-minute sprints. Now, if you guys don't have a timer, you can use your phone. There was an app that I actually used to have. I believe it's called Forest, Forest. You would grow a little tree, a little shrubbery, right? And so if you, didn't get the task done, unfortunately, the shrubbery would die. But if you did that 20 minutes and you got it done, you checked it off, that little shrub and that little, tree would grow. It sounds kind of silly, but it was really helpful, and I used it a lot. But now I got my little Amazon Cube timer. It was, definitely helpful for me. I use the timer. Again, you can order it on Amazon. You can even look up Pomodoro timers. They've got a lot. I mean, $5, all the way up to probably more. But it is just a really, really neat way to work. Okay. So the next thing that I want to introduce you guys to is a little something called Toby. Now, I just learned yesterday that they now started charging for it, but there is still a free version. Okay. So there's still a way to use it completely free, right? We like to make suggestions for things that aren't going to, add too much to your, obviously expenses. So Toby is a Google Chrome extension, and I'm going to show you very briefly how to use it, right? I don't want to overwhelm anyone. I just really want to make sure that you guys kind of have a general overview of what it's all about and the different concepts when using it, okay? So there are lots of different Chrome extensions you can get if you're using Google Chrome. But the reason why I love Toby so incredibly much, and quite honestly, I will be full transparent, it has absolutely changed my life and it's changed my business. And so what it is, and I'm going to hit the exit button so you guys can actually see my tabs, is when you install the Google Chrome extension called Toby, and you can check it out. In fact, here, I'll drop the link here. I'll drop it into the chat for you guys to check it out. So the perk of this is, okay, how many of you have used bookmarks? Okay, again, drop a wire yes in the chat box if you guys have used just the bookmark feature on your, computer in some way. Well, the problem with bookmarks is they get very messy. Okay. In fact, my bookmarks got so out of control. They were unorganized. Okay. Yeah, here you go. Right. And of course, there's ways to organize them a little bit better. But I found that I wasn't using them and I wasn't going back and referring to things. Again, it was getting lost into the interweb. It was like, oh, that was really cool. And it's lost now, gone forever. Well, the perk of using a Chrome extension like Toby is it allows you to save all those links and keep them nice and organized. Okay, so one of the ways that Toby works, so just to show you the hierarchy, is first you create what we call an organization, and then you break that down. So I created a little test one for you guys so you can see. So over here, when you first sign up for Toby, it makes it so that your tabs now will appear like this. Okay, so it's basically going to Tobyfy them. And what happens is it allows you to create what we call an organization. Now, your organization could be the name of your company, okay? Could be the name of your business. In fact, I know some people have actually created them for personal. Like, let's say you want to save all your personal stuff, that's fine too. So once you create the overall organization, and just again to show you the hierarchy, underneath of that is a space. Okay, so an example of this. So let's say this is my business and I named it test business. Now I have a bunch of spaces that I can add. So let's say if I'm using this for business, I want to create a space called clients. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and create that as a private space and I'm going to hit create. Now I can go in there and I can add the names or like the first names of all my clients if I'd like. So let's say I've got Anne. Let's say I've got Mike. Let's say I've got Sarah. Hit save. Okay, so I can go through and I can add a little section for each person. Now, the benefit of this is, let's say I'm searching on the internet and I come across maybe a really cool article, or maybe I pull up a Google Sheet or form that I need to go over with a particular client. Well, the awesome thing is I can actually hit the Toby button and I can put that in that client's folder. So for example, let's see, I was reading a blog post here about 6 best gifts for book lovers this holiday season. And I happen to know that Anne, oh my goodness, this is right up her alley. Well, I can click my little Toby Google Chrome extension, right? And I can make sure to go to my organization, which is that test organization that I named, go into my clients, and I can click it for Anne. Okay, so that is going to save it under Anne. And now I know that anytime, I meet with Anne, I can go back in and I can go, oh, I wanted to make sure to mention this to you. Now, a simpler, even simpler way to use this, and even a really basic way, is to create a routine. Okay, so this is your business. You can put anything you want under it. So let's create a routine. So let's say daily routine. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead again, click private, click create. So I want you guys to drop in the chat, what are some things that you do daily in your business? Okay. One of them, I'm just going to get started, right, is probably checking email. Okay. So, this is my personal email. It's a little wild and crazy, but it could be checking email. Okay. So what you can do is just in this, just giving this example. Okay. I can go to Toby and I can add this to my daily routine. Okay. And I'm going to put, in fact, I'm going to create a different routine for each day. So this is going to be Monday. And then I can go through and create Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever I want to do. Okay. So this is check email. So let's say I want to actually title that check email 15 minutes, give myself a little guideline. Okay. So now I've got one thing on my list for Monday. Let's see, somebody said invoicing, follow up with prospects, posting on social media. Absolutely. Right. So let's say, I want to follow up with prospects, or I want to connect on LinkedIn. Well, you can absolutely, right, Toby your LinkedIn. Okay. So maybe I want to, let's see, hit Toby and I'm going to add there. So maybe make my connections, do my stuff. Maybe I want to connect. Now, guys, this is where it gets even more fun. Let's say I want to go to certain Facebook groups. So let's see, women entrepreneurs. I don't know. I'm just picking a group here. So let's say this is a group that I like to engage with a few times, a week or something. I can click that on Monday. I can go to, I'm going to go to the other Facebook group, and then I can go to Toby and I can click that. Let's see. Some people set up podcast interviews. Yep, I can do all kinds of different things. Okay. Schedule my pocket. Yeah. So the other thing, right, is also we talked about like, your Trello board. So you want to be able to, go to your Trello board and make sure that you're checking that consistently. So of course, right, I'm just grabbing a random board. So Trello week here, I'm just going to click this, and that's my Trello board. Okay. So as I'm going through, I'm adding all these things. Now, what does that do for me? It makes it so that now when I sit in front of my computer, okay, I go into my daily routine and I know all the things that I need to get done. Okay. I know that I'm going to go to my Trello board. I'm going to check out things that are going on. I'm going to go ahead and click here. I can go to my email. Oh, I want to go check LinkedIn. I'm going to be able to jump there really quickly. How many of you guys have purchased a course or maybe have downloaded a really awesome form and then it's disappeared into the oblivion? Right? I think we've all probably done that at some point. Maybe when we go to create content and we forget, what are those really awesome, blogs that I love to follow, or, what are right? These are types of things you can add right to your Toby and be able to jump in really quickly. The other really neat thing too is when you add things in here, you can open them all at once. So I can click here with the click of a button and it opens them all. So I know, all right, I'm going to set my Pomodoro timer. I've got 20 minutes, right? What can I get done? So I now just opened up my email. I'm going to go ahead and check that. Excellent. I'm done. That feels good. All right. I'm going to go ahead and engage on LinkedIn. Boom. I'm done. Okay. I get that done. Next, I'm going to jump into the Facebook groups and I'm going to engage for a couple minutes, right? Done. Okay. This is done. And then, I'm going to make sure everything's planned out, on my Trello board. Okay. So this is, again, just a little tool. I didn't want to go too in depth with it, but I just wanted to show you the power of this. Because again, the problem that I always encounter, the questions that people always ask are, well, I can't find the Trello board, or I can't get to that link that, I really needed. So remember, this is a tool that you can use for things like that. And again, you can organize spaces in so many different ways. In fact, I have a special space when I am planning out content. So content creation, you could make that an entire space. And you could actually add right within that, you could add different places to go. So blogs that you want to check out. Maybe there are certain people in your industry, right? So competitors. Maybe there are, different podcast episodes or people that you follow. You can go to all of that, save all the links in there. And whenever you're going to create your content, boom, you've got everything in one place. So you can take it to whatever extremes that you'd like to. But again, the big point there is Toby has absolutely changed my life. And it's something that's worth looking into. Again, they do have a free version, and they have, obviously different ways that you can use it. But I definitely recommend checking out. It has been an absolute game changer. Okay. So with Toby, you've got the organization, you got the space, you got the collection. I also have used it just to kind of show you, in my business, I've got a separate section for my agency. I've got a spot for important links, website, call links, so on and so forth. Scott and I, right, have one that we share. So you can actually share it with someone else. We've got one for foundations. So for example, important links, Google Drive, where we need to drag and drop training, Trello boards within that. Okay. So that's the really cool thing that you can, use it for. It's really keeping everything in one safe place. Someone just asked, Nancy, can you only save URL tabs versus file folders? So it's only URL tabs. So it works kind of like bookmarking. So it's a great question. I typically keep everything organized in a Google Drive if it's a file. So for example, If I download a bunch of videos for content that I'm going to be using, that has a URL because I've downloaded it and dropped it into my Google Drive. So that's a way to kind of organize it. So it's really, really pretty cool. So next steps here are we're going to talk about your why. I know we've talked about this quite a bit, right? During this whole training, your why, your vision. But there's a page in your workbook where you can really write out your why. And Scott and I talk about this all the time because sometimes we get so frustrated. And there's the quote, right? We can't want this 51%. And you want this 49%. Scott used to tell me all the time. I used to get so fired up and I used to get so passionate. People would tell me their business ideas and I would get so fired up. We'd have an amazing call. And then I would meet with them 5 weeks later and I'm like, how's everything going? And they're like, oh, I really haven't done anything. And I'm like, okay. All right. I really want this for you. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but so you guys have to remember your why. You've got to connect back to your why. It's when things get tough or whenever you find yourself in a lull or you find yourself in those days where it's just not moving, nothing's going forward. Your why is really what is always going to help you keep going. It brings you back. It gives you that North Star. And when things get tough, you can return to your why. This was, and I know I kind of mentioned this story earlier in the week, but when I had first started my, residential house cleaning business, guys, there were days where I was literally a mess. I was a puddle on the floor. I was scraping by to get things done. In fact, I just did a podcast episode about it. I think I drove for Uber one day. I was renting out rooms in my house. I was doing everything that I possibly could to make it work. Okay. And when things got so bad, like I'm talking about so bad that I was about to throw in the towel, I would
She went
remember.
on Bumble and met me.
Oh, I went on, but no, that's not.
I'm kidding.
No, that was after. No, I had breakdowns. I was seriously like, no one's going to want to even, be with me because, this is a mess. It was just, I was so low at times because it's hard, right? Building a business. And I know you guys have seen so many advertisements out there, build a business in 2 days, make 6 figures in a month or, whatever. There are still things you have to do and it is not always easy. Okay. And there are certain things that have to be put into place. And I promise you, things will get tough at times. I call it the badges of honor, right? It's like the little hurdles that are put in front of you to see how bad you really want it. Okay. And so remembering your why always helps you. It definitely brought me back because you know what? My why, I did not want to go back to doing the job that I was doing before. I didn't want to work 60 hours a week. I didn't want my family to forget about me because I work too much. Guys,
Well,
I live to work like every
yeah.
single day.
Well, I'll just kind of chime in and Nancy made a really good point that there are a lot of people probably in your individual circles that are maybe telling you what success looks like or how they did it, how they're making all their money and this, that, or the other. And, they're making it seem like it's so simple, like it's so easy. And the big thing that Nancy and I always come back to, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Because no matter what business you're looking to grow, it's not a straight line. It's not an easy road. It's not going to happen in 6 weeks. It's not going to happen in 6 months, and it may not happen in 6 years. But what we can share with you is if you're willing to put the time, the energy, the effort into it, if you're willing to try new things, if you're willing to invest in yourself and your business, if you're willing to get uncomfortable, then things will change. But if you're unwilling to do those things, again, we know so many business owners that have had the gumption and they've had the drive. And, Nancy talked about this when we were going over the phases of business, right? You're just like super excited. And then, you're ascending. And then things you realize are not as easy as maybe people say they are. And then you start getting a little disenchanted. You get a little discouraged. And then you want to throw in the towel. But what I can tell you is that is the normal progression of any business, whether it's brick and mortar, whether it's online. Everyone goes through those up and downs. If anybody is familiar with the book, The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, right? The first thing that you do when you get on a roller coaster is what? You pull the safety harness down. And you do that because once that roller coaster is off, you're going to get flipped upside down. There's going to be twists and turns. Sometimes it even goes backwards. The big thing is this. There is so much. Nancy and I talk about this often. There is so much abundance out there right now. So much. But yet, so many people are playing small. People are just staying in this nice little comfortable bubble. They're not willing to learn new things, try new things, do new things, step out of their comfort zones. And they're waiting for that perfect time, right? They're waiting for the stars to align where it's like, okay, now is the right time for me to go all in. Listen, if that right time existed, there would be many more people succeeding. The most successful people out there are creating that perfect time by getting uncomfortable and doing new things. Plain and simple. And Nancy gave you this 51-49 analogy. I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard of that. And any of you that are building a business, if you want it 49% for yourself and we want it 51% for you, it's never going to work. It has to be the reverse. You have to want it more than anyone else for yourself and no one else, only you. But again, everyone has the same opportunity to achieve anything they want in their business. It's just coming down to asking yourself, am I willing to do what is required? Right? And, do I have a clear vision and goals? Or do I lack a clear vision? Right? Am I a proactive mindset business owner? Am I willing to take initiative? Am I willing to seek opportunities? Address the challenges that I'm facing? Or am I going to react to situations and don't plan for them? And maybe I avoid challenges and I procrastinate all the time, right? We just muddle around and just, hope things get better. But also, am I lacking the commitment to learn? And what I can tell you is the one thing that has so helped Nancy and myself is we have a serious commitment to learning new things, challenging ourselves, staying up to date, right? And then there's a lot of people that resist all the changes in business. You can't do that. You have to be serious. You have to invest time. You have to be open to feedback and seek knowledge to improve your business. So if you find yourself on the other side of that, where you're resisting change, right? You're not willing to invest in learning or updating your skills. Those are things that you have to start thinking about as serious business owners. And we want you to achieve all those things. So we do have some pre-submitted questions that we are going to go through first and foremost. And then we're going to.
Yeah, I just need to finish this.
Oh, I thought you were done.
No. I just have a couple things. So, and again, we're going to jump into the Q&A right after that. So the last things that I want to leave you guys with is, the basics of a success flow, right? We want to give you, the tools to really succeed here. So make sure, please, to stick to your CEO schedule, right? And if it doesn't work and you got to make tweaks along the way, that's fine. But just make sure you guys have a foundational schedule, right? What are your hours of operation from morning until when you're cutting it off? Make sure you do cut it off. Okay. You need to recharge that battery. And then Trello, make sure you got your Trello board, what needs to get done. And guys, if you're not using Trello, use a project management tool, please. I'm begging you. Okay. If it's not Trello and it's something else, maybe it's ClickUp, maybe it's Asana, maybe it's, a different one. Please just make sure that you're keeping things organized and start implementing. Okay. When you follow your CEO schedule, you can do things like putting it into your calendar, like I mentioned, right? Blocking off times in your electronic calendar, set reminders on your phone for when you should be doing things. In fact, it sounds silly. I say, hey, Siri, right? Every single morning. And I go through my entire, if I've got a call at 12, 1, 2, 3, whatever, I say, hey, Can you set an alarm for this? Can you set an alarm
Nancy
for this?
has
Can you set an alarm for this?
37 alarms
I
that go
have
off
so
every
many
single day.
alarms. It keeps me on track. Okay. It makes it so that I can take it off my brain. And I know that it's now my phone is going to follow up and make sure that I'm staying on track. So if I get to get off a call with somebody, to make sure to jump on my next one, a little extra little reminder is absolutely fine, but it gives me that peace of mind, and then adjust as needed. Give yourself buffer time for unexpected changes. Guys, sometimes things happen. Kids get sick, you get sick, things pop up, we end up having to shift our focus for, that hour, but it's normal. Look at your Trello board, add it to your bookmarks. If you want to use Toby, you can use Toby. Drag and drop the URL to your desktop, right? You can make a quick link that way. Put a time and date on your calendar each week to update your board. Adjust it as needed and give yourself time. Okay. And I know, again, we covered a lot. And like Scott said, now we're going to dive into some of the Q&A questions. But that's pretty much, it. I mean, staying consistent and making sure, right, this is all a big priority for you is going to be huge.
Yeah, and again, we want this for you guys, but again, you have to want it more for yourselves. And I think whenever we do this workshop, it's an eye-opening experience for a lot of people because they sometimes don't realize all of the intricacies that go into organizing and streamlining a business. Even though, again, all businesses are built somewhat the same, they all look a little bit different on the inside and require different things. And that's why we wanted to create the program that we did, to, make sure that all of those things are in place. So again, we're going to get to some Q&A. I did drop into the chat about Expert Foundations. Again, if you guys are looking to take your business to the next level, we are ready to help you. So we have a few questions. I'm going to pull this up.
Yeah,
and
I can paste them, Scott, if you'd like, in the chat.
Yep.
If that
I think, Lisa, I did answer that first question. It was from the assignment from yesterday, whether you had to do, but I think I answered Lisa's question in the Facebook group already.
Okay. All right. So the next question, all right, I'm just going to paste. All right, this is also from Lisa. So she said, how do I work with these foundations if I have two different arms or audiences what I am targeting? One is one-on-one mind coaching with female executives over 40. I've been a generalist with my hypnotherapy and coaching practice for 27 years, the last 17 years full-time. And so I'm finally niching. And the other group is corporate training and coaching. So that's a great, great question. In fact, I'm in the process right now of building out kind of a marketing strategy for the year and breaking down different personas. So for this, well, step one, right? You are one person, you are one business, you are one coach and consultant. So I would just make sure, number one, right, you've got that overall business that's really going to be the umbrella of these services. Number two is that you're going to have two different personas. Okay. And two different services, right? So what I mean by that is whenever you go to map out your marketing plan, and I'm just saying this very high level, I would look at, okay, which services do you want to focus on each month? So let's say, for example, January, February, and March, you really want to focus on targeting and marketing a coaching service that you have for the mindset coaching for female executives. Okay. So you would put that in as part of your plan. And then as far as your persona and your target audience, that's who you're going to gear your content. That's how you're going to really, get yourself out there. And that's how you're going to target all your lead generation activities, things like that. That's where you're really going to focus heavy on that. Now, if you're going to, maybe the next quarter focus on more of the corporate training and coaching, that's when you can kind of shift your strategy a little bit there. But I wouldn't completely create two separate businesses entirely. Again, this is you as the coach. So it's really building your personal brand throughout that. So usually when people have like separate things like that, I've worked with a psychologist, for example. She does relationship coaching, but she also does, regular appointments, and she works with different people as well. But when you create that umbrella, which is you, it's kind of that overall vision, right? Because you're still going to overall help, right? What's that big mission of what you're doing? You're helping people and in what ways. And that could be that big message that's really going to be that umbrella over those two things.
Yeah.
And then two, foundationally, right, I would just really put together a nice little marketing plan, which we even discuss, during this call. And it's also in foundations under the content planning, right? I do go over this as far as how you plan out your content. But that's exactly how I would do it, right? Because, even us, think about it, right? We're very transparent. Okay. We have this program that we're talking to you guys about expert foundations. The other program that Scott and I have, under our umbrella of the Time to Grow is our high level mastermind. Now, is everybody the best fit for the high level mastermind? No, right? The best fit for that are usually people who have already, really got things going. They're already in, a certain place, and they're mostly scaling and growing that business. Now, do we occasionally get people who are in beginner stages? Sure. But the Expert Foundations program is best for those people who are in building and growth stages, right? Who are really still looking to get the basics down. Those are two different personas.
Yeah.
Those are two different people that we're talking to, right? So those workshops probably look a little different. The content's going to look a little different. And then obviously our email campaigns and everything else that we do behind the scenes are going to look a little different. So anyway, in a long-winded way, that's how I would do it. It's you are the personal brand. This is your umbrella. And there's just two doors, right? People can go through the corporate training door, or they can go down this door, which is going to be that other form of training. And again, you can kind of build out the journey to work backwards from that. Hopefully that answers your question. All right. So the next question we have is Bonnie. Let's see. Let me see. I don't think that's a question. Hold on 1 second. Scott, are you looking at it too? Can you?
Yeah, the first one was not a question. It was more of a statement. The second one is a question.
Got it. Okay, cool. All right. So I will copy that one and drop it. I'm with a new company on the block called Transact Card. I've been in direct sales all my life, but I've never made money. The company has lots of trainings and I see potential. Can I rely on your program to help me push through that 6-figure income in the next few years? So what I'm going to do as far as responding to this is the same way I respond to pretty much any questions when people are asking questions like, oh, do you guarantee this or do you guarantee that? I can guarantee that if you guys use this program, if you are plugged into Expert Foundations, you will build out the foundational things that you need to do in your business to grow, increase your, the amount of money that you make to build and grow and do all the things. When we talk about the ROI, in fact, Scott and I were in the kitchen kind of talking about this the other day, and he was like, how much, really, if somebody had this program and just plugged in the things, it's going to do everything, right, to help their business. So when we talk about sales, lead gen, content creation, marketing activities, I even touch on PR, right, in the Expert Foundations. I wanted to incorporate everything, right, to make sure that you guys had all the basics in one place. So the sky is the limit. It is just up to you guys, right, the people who are involved in the program to do the work. And in fact, full transparency, one thing that I will also tell you, all the time, in fact, I posted a little picture of a genie, right, popping out of a bottle, and I said, what do you need? I will create a training for you, or I will find an expert who can come in and do the training. Where are you stuck? What do you guys need? Like literally anything that you need, we will make it happen. Okay. So that is the big thing that I want you guys to keep in mind. We will make sure that, right, everybody's going to get what they need. But the whole key to this, and yes, you can make any money that you want. In fact, you can make millions, right? Depending on what your product and your service is. It is just up to you to take action.
Well, again, it's about applying what you learn. You can read all the books you want. Again, it's up to the individual. It really is. And you have to understand, if you're in like a network marketing opportunity, which I was for a number of years, I realized at a certain point that I had kind of hit my, I would say, peak of learning from that company, because I realized that a lot of the trainings were just geared towards growing that company, not really growing me as a company, because I was a salesperson. I was taught to market and sell their products so they continue to drive revenue, so I can make a percentage of commission which I think ended up breaking down to like 5 to 10%. And then I said to myself, well, I have all these skills and stuff now. I can make 100% doing my own thing. And that's kind of like the transition I made. So we work with a lot of people in that capacity that, yes, no matter what business that you're looking to grow. But if someone was to ask me, but I did like, Bonnie, I like how you stated in the next few years. That's being realistic, because, those people that are a little disillusioned in the sense they're like, oh, if I put this in place, can I make 6 figures with my network marketing opportunity in the next 6 months? 0.00% chance. You're not even going to do it in 1 year, because hold on, Nancy,
Oh,
the
sorry, yeah.
likelihood of someone achieving 6 figures. So it took me 22 months to have my first $10,000 month in network marketing. But the amount of time that I was working to achieve that, man, I was burnt to a crisp. So there are better ways to do it, but the biggest thing is having a realistic expectation. I remember getting on a call with someone, and they told me that they have someone that wants to make $1 million in network marketing in the next year. What should I tell them? I think you should tell them that they have no chance of doing that, because it's not going to happen, because $1 million in a year is $83,300 a month. So if you're starting from zero, you have to, in month one, if you make zero, month two, you make 10,000, you have to make up for now $93,000 so you get my point. But what I can tell you is that this foundational program, to Nancy's point, no matter where you are, no matter what business you have, if you learn and then you apply, you're going to succeed, plain and simple. Nance, next question.
Yeah. Well, I just, the only thing I wanted to tag off of that is, if you think about the journey, in foundations, and again, I kind of shared with you guys, everyone has a checklist, that they're going to get for the new members. But it builds out everything, including lead generation strategy, marketing, content creation, all the operations that we often drop the ball on, right? Like creating an amazing client experience. All these things have the number one goal of helping you grow and build your business. So it's not going to be time not well spent. It's literally going to be the things that always need to get done in order to grow your business. So anyway, so I'm going to drop the next question here in the chat. So this is a great question by Missy. So I'm having trouble determining what metrics to track outside of financials. What are some good ones to start with? This is a great question. So I'll actually give you guys kind of a high level overview of things that we track. And I'm going to go through this, and it's going to be a lot. But remember, this is recorded, so you guys can go back and watch the replay. But some things that I have recorded, and this is based off my experience, right? I've worked with a lot of high level coaches. I did a lot of metrics reporting. I pulled up a lot of KPIs back in my day. But things that we specifically track, we track our page views to our websites, right? So you can pull up your, Google Analytics, GA4, all your metrics there. So page views, I love to pull up and see, how many people are visiting. We always want to obviously increase that. So different website metrics there. Certain things within that, we do pull up the user's session duration, acquisition. So where people are coming in from. The other thing is important around session duration is how long are they hanging on your website? I actually did a little test. I just added a blog back to our website, and our session duration went up by almost like a full minute. So I was like, ooh, people are hanging on a little longer. They're actually reading some stuff. So there are some different things there you can track. Email marketing, right? So let's say your email subscribers, right? How many email subscribers are you growing by each month? That's a great thing to look at. Your open rate, right? So are people actually opening your emails? So
I would say, like, just to chime in real quick, Nance.
yeah.
So like, if you're kind of like in the beginning stages, other metrics on top of what Nancy is talking about could be how many new friends you made on Facebook, how many new connections you've made on LinkedIn, those kind of metrics. For me, since I have a podcast, that kind of stuff.
Yep. Yeah. So, if you guys have like a free download, how many people are downloading that? You want to check and you want to track those things. Again, we want to keep it super simple, especially in the beginning, but think about the things that matter, right? One of the most important metrics, in fact, right, are sales. Okay. So how much money are you making in sales each month? If you guys are stuck, I could go on all day. I mean, we've started adding, new and different things to track. But, I think the important thing is, think about what is applicable in your business, think about what your goals are. And in fact, I always tell people, especially when you're posting on social media and you're getting yourself out there, what is your goal? Right. And your number one goal could be to grow your email list, or your other goal could be just to close one-on-one clients, but you got to set intentions for things that you do. Okay. So we do cover metrics. We go over some of the KPIs reporting that's actually in our financial section. We go through, because one thing that's really important in your business is actually setting up like a business review. Yep. Full transparency. Guess what? Scott and I really didn't start doing that really heavy duty until last year. We were doing a very basic version of it, but we weren't actively looking and reviewing and, tracking certain things. And whenever I say it's been a game changer, it has been an absolute game changer. But, within the foundations program, we have a whole section about having a business meeting, going over some of those routines that you should really do to hone in on your business. So what's working, what's not.
Nance, I think there was a question about on the sheet. There was something about the hourly rate calculator. If you wanted to pop that into the chat, I thought that was a good question.
I'm not seeing it. You can pop it in.
All right. All right. So Brian and Thora asked clarification and process for figuring out your hourly rate, its significance, and how you should use it.
Yeah. Can you drop the replay link, Scott, or the video replay link? And then that way I can pull it up.
Oh, for all the days?
Yeah, it's got the hourly rate calculator. I can pull it up.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a great question as far as the hourly rate. Now I'm going to show you guys again. You can find the hourly rate calculator on the replay page. I put the little link there where you guys can make a copy. It's a little Google sheet that I created. So Scott just dropped the link for the replay page. I'm going to do a little share screen so you can see what I'm talking about here. So right here where it says hourly rate calculator, you guys can click that. And then it'll have you make a copy. So the way that this works, and I want you to keep in mind, this is not an exact science. The whole purpose, right, is that you are able to use it as kind of a foundational way to track, right, what you want your billable income to be. So for example, if you set a goal that, okay, well, I want to make $100,000, a year. How many weeks do you actually want to work? Okay. Now I want you guys to think about whenever you're filling that out, maybe you want to go on vacation or you want to take, so many weeks off. So let's say you only want to work maybe 45 weeks a year. What are the number of days you want to work each week? So, maybe you want to start out with 5. You can, put that in there. And then the number of hours you want to work each day. Now, whenever I say numbers you want to work each day, keep in mind, guys, right? We've got things that we need to do in our business that we do regularly that aren't billable hours. Okay. So enter the number of hours a day you can devote, right, to actually working with clients or helping clients. So maybe that only looks like 4 hours a day. Okay. So what this is pumped out for me, 11, is a potential example of what my hourly rate could be. Okay.
Meaning now, what your time is worth.
What your time is worth. Okay. Meaning like if I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, start coaching someone or I'm going to start doing certain things, whatever, that's what you could start billing. Now, also keep in mind that let's say you're a VA or someone who specifically just does service-based work. So really all your time is going to be filled up with working with people. So if that's the case, right? So number of days, 5, let's say, all day, maybe I want to make 8 hours a day. So maybe your hourly billable rate is, 50 something. So this is supposed to just give you an idea, right, of what your base hourly rate could be based off of what you even have available. Now, the reason why we came up with and we kind of shared this hourly rate calculator with you guys is because so many people are not treating their time with respect. Right, you guys are doing lots of things, you're doing all kinds of things. And yeah, Scott, if you want to give an example, that would be
Yeah.
great.
So let's reverse engineer this. So say that you're a business owner, and you want to find out actually what your hourly rate is because you don't know what it is. So say you're making, Nance, go to $50,000 a year. Say you're making $50,000 a year.
Oh, 50,000.
Yep.
Well, okay.
Right. And you're working every week. So you're working 52 weeks a year.
Okay.
And you are just grinding it out. You're working 10 hours a day. Or you're working
Oh,
5 days a
5 days
week,
a week,
10
10 hours
hours
a
a
day.
day.
Okay.
You're making $19 an hour. So a lot of this sometimes could be a big like smack in the face because you're really working harder, not working smarter. So it's a great exercise to go through, take whatever you're making a year right now, how many weeks of the year you're working, how many days of the week that you're working, and how many hours per day. And again, I gave you guys this example the other day. Someone realized they were making under minimum wage with their online business when they did this rate calculator. So it starts to really hone in like, I need to cut back the amount of hours I'm working because it's not making me more money. It's making me less money. So I need to start working smarter and not harder. So it's a great thing.
Yep.
Isn't the
And this
rate
is,
you
yeah, I was going to say in response to that, right? So Christo said, isn't the rate you charge will also be dependent on the market and competition? Absolutely. Right. So this is just, again, giving you a foundational, right? Not perfect
build
science,
upon?
but it's giving you, right? Like something to build from. But the other thing too is I feel like a lot of times when people create programs or they decide, oh, I want to have a group coaching program, or I want to, do this one-on-one coaching, they don't take into account how much time they actually have, right? So again, if you want to make, let's say the income goal for your coaching business, right? Yeah, you want to make, $70,000. You want to work again, and let me go back to 45 weeks, 5 days a week, and then you only want to work, maybe you can do 3 hours a day, right? So you need to make sure to account that amount of money into the
Yeah.
things that you're doing. If it's going to require you in person, make sure that you're budgeting for your time. I was just speaking to someone who works, I mean, she heavily works with a lot of different entrepreneurs. People are on the phone with her all the time asking her questions and all these things. And I'm like, do you have time for your own things? She goes, no. And I was like, why aren't you charging? People need to respect your time. Like, you need to know how important and how valuable your time is. Okay. So you need to keep that in mind. And then the other thing is, as far as, in the market and what other people are charging and things like that, I love this because again, it's foundational. Okay. I even have another calculator that I created, which is how to actually map out packages and programs. And what it does is it starts with this, right? You got to know your base hourly rate. And then everything else is built off. Okay. How many hours does it take for you to write that email and send out that follow-up
Yep.
email? How many hours does it take you to, build out the customized XYZ or whatever? Okay. Make sure that you're accounting for it and then add all, the expenses in there and what it's going to cost you.
Yep.
So it's foundational. Now,
And
anything
we
else you
got
want to
one.
do on top of that, absolutely.
Yeah, we got one final question really quick. If someone gives you a no to your offer, do you follow up with them again? If so, how long do you wait to check back in? I mean, Nance, you can share your opinion, but if someone says like a flat out no, I'm not interested, they're not interested. I'm not going to reach back out to them. Now, if someone says, you know what, it sounds good, but I'm just not ready right now. It's just not the right time. I would then start asking more questions. Great. When would the best time be to follow back up to reintroduce this program and offer to you? And I would ask questions, and I would just continue to ask questions until I either get an answer that they want to follow up. If they continue to kind of push back and I'm sensing a little bit of resistance that they do want to follow up, I would say, okay, listen, I'm just going to leave this with you. And I'll give you a prime example. There was a person that reached out to me on LinkedIn. They wanted to hire me for some consulting. We jumped on a Zoom. I gave them my pricing and what it requires to, work with me. And they said, well, I'm a part of something until January, so I'm not going to make any decisions till then. I said, well, to lock in a spot, I only take on 4 clients a year, 1 client a quarter. You're going to have to pay a 1-month deposit. And they're like, well, I don't, make any deposits until I'm ready to start something. I said, okay, well, I'm going to leave this with you. I said, when you're done your course, if you're interested in working together, you could reach back out to me. So yeah, you just have to listen to people's words, and that'll tell you and cue you in if there's a door of opportunity that's open, or have they closed it shut. So sometimes you don't make any offer at all. But if someone says, not right now, later, you kind of just finalize it that way. And then finally, Jake says, I'm really bad at keeping appointments with myself. Do you have any advice around that, or something in the course that can fix that? So in foundations, yes. Part of our course teaches you to get extremely organized with blocking out time for yourself for those income producing activities, for those sales activities, for those marketing activities. So we do take you through that. But a simple piece of advice that I can give you is there's no more important time for your business than the time that you have for your business. Because, for those of you that follow me on social media, I go live on LinkedIn every Monday and Thursday. And you better believe in my calendar, and Nancy knows this, it is blocked off. It is a reoccurring weekly event, ongoing, 10 to 10:30 on Mondays and Thursdays. So that time is mine. So if it's not written down, it won't get done. Even if you do block it off, you have to commit to it. It's just one of those things. When you want to really commit to your business, you have to honor not only the commitments of the clients and the people that you're working with, but you have to honor your own commitments for yourself. And that is something that we definitely do share with this. And Irene, who's currently in foundations, she said, as I said before, you guys are the real deal. You're authentic and transparent. Get serious and just do it. No excuses, do the work, learn the gold nuggets offered here. The rest is up to you. Thank you for your info, tips, suggestions, personal examples. You've really touched my inner core. I can't thank you enough for sharing your awesome programs with others. Thank you so. And Irene, we love her so much, and she's just been a wonderful, wonderful addition to the Expert Foundations community. And everyone, just remember, this is something. If you're feeling weary about where you are in your business and you really want to take things to the next level, you want our guidance. We have never given away more in this program than we're currently doing right now, as far as meeting with everyone on a group Zoom once a month, giving 6 months of extended access if you finish it in the 6 months for free. And then anyone that does finish the course in the 6 months, not only do you get an additional 6 months of access, you meet with us one-on-one for a bonus session, just us, to go over some strategic planning with you. So you get 8 weeks of Voxer support with Nancy on a group thread on Voxer. There's just the only way, in all honesty, the only way you're not going to win with this program is if you don't do the program. If you get into the program, you do the work. It is beautifully paced out by Nancy, where it's not overwhelming. It takes you through step by step. And again, I'm going to drop the link one last time. We have 2 more winners to announce. And these 2 people are going to win autographed copies of both my book and Nancy's book. But also, don't forget, the doors to Expert Authority close the same time the replays come down, which is Sunday night at 9 p.m. And just to let everybody know, Expert Foundation, so anyone that wants continued access, what we always do is, for anyone that's a part of our foundations program, any new workshop we've done, they get extended access. So if anyone is wondering, will I get extended access from this workshop if I'm in Expert Foundations? Absolutely. We always want people to continue to learn and go back. So another added bonus is you will get extra access to this week's workshop replays as well. Nance, any final things to tack on before I announce the last 2 winners?
I just, really wanted to shout out to all of you guys for showing up. I mean, it's Friday and, there were over 30 people on this call. It's, it's just great that you guys take the time out and, that you've enjoyed, and just really appreciate all the feedback and, the time that people take to add and give feedback. We just really appreciate it, because we want to give value, and I think this workshop, in fact, Scott said this morning, it's one of his favorite to teach. I know it's a lot, I mean, even just doing the assessment, I think is very eye-opening for a lot of people. But I think it's work that needs to be done, and it's real, and it's all about building your business. And we really want to make sure that you guys step off on the right foot, as we get into 2024, because it's going to be here before we know it. So,
Yeah. And the last thing is, we don't want another year to go by and have another year where you're not making what you want to make. And just really ask yourselves, how serious am I about doing this? And if you're serious, you're going to do the serious things that business owners do. And we would love to support you in that journey and help you in any and every way possible. So the final two winners, Missy Travis and Lisa Smith, congratulations. If your name was called, please send an email to support@thetimetogrowcom. And if we just need your home address, or you can message us on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. Just please do send us your home address so we can mail you copies of our books. And again, we just, from the bottom of my heart and Nancy's heart, thank you guys so much for being a part of this workshop. It will be returning, like we said, next year, this time next year, November. And that's the next time that we're going to open the doors to Expert Foundation. So we're hoping that you don't wait until next November to join us. Obviously, there are still 3 more days to join. Really just imagine where your business could be in 6 short months from now, having all the foundations in place to grow and scale and get everything to where it needs to be. So everyone, enjoy your Friday. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday season. For those that have joined foundations, nearly 15 of you already, don't forget our kickoff call is this Monday, November 13th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be sending out more email information about that. And just also remember, ongoing, starting in December, the first Monday of every month, starting in December, the next 5 sessions are going to be held on the first Monday of every month at 2 p.m. So everyone, just remember, if you've joined, you'll be seeing us again on Monday on the private Zoom to kick it off, and then every month thereafter for 5 months to make sure that you guys are getting the information you need, but also the Voxer information, everything that you're going to need about the program. We'll be sending out an email. So congratulations to all those that have joined so far, and we look forward to helping you guys